Alright, hello everybody. Welcome back to Deep Learn yang ada di sini. I just wanna let you know. Hey, by the way, I've been looking at my analytics and it looks really cool. I mean, I've been seeing like traffics for you guys coming in and listening to my podcast. I mean, I want to say thank you so much, and a lot of you have been buying me ice cream, so it's like really cool. And if you and some of you are asking, okay, how can I buy you ice cream? It's very simple. You go to Spotify, right, and then you click the description at the bottom, and it says ice cream, and it's been like ada linknya kok, ada tulisan ice cream, terus itu literally link, kamu tinggal diklik aja, dan kan di situ ada gambar es krim, kalian tinggal pilih aja mau beli aku satu es krim harganya 10.000, and then kalian bisa bisa pakai QRIS atau bisa transfer, atau itu by the way masuk ke GoPay-nya. Ke GoPay-nya aku bisa pakai OVO juga bisa, and then langsung ke aku, and then of course I will buy ice cream because I love ice cream. You guys know that, right? Alright, so that's good, so fantastic. So guys, welcome back to Deep Learn, and in season 2 Deep Learn yang ada yang kali ini, kalau 3 hari yang lalu atau 4 hari yang lalu aku lagi bahas mengenai namanya time management. Kali ini it's really good because it's really, I mean, it's something that I've been thinking in mind. It's mengenai dari dulu sih actually, tapi ada sedikit story sih behind the story for this, because if you know, a lot of people has been has a lot of people have a vision. A lot of people have like a lot of people wanted to be what they want to be, but nggak nyampe, and that means tengah jalan they decided to give up and they choose another road. So there was a little story, and I love this story if you guys want to know the story. So ada satu anak yang dia ke sekolah, nggak tahu gimana hari itu tuh bu gurunya lagi ngomongin mengenai cita-cita, atau kalau boleh bilang adalah kamu mau jadi apa di masa depan, dan gurunya nanya, and then long story very short, gurunya nanya ke setiap anak, dan anak yang pertama katanya dia mau jadi pilot. Oh, gurunya seneng, semuanya dikasih tepuk tangan, you know. And anak yang kedua ditanya, dia bilang aku mau jadi chef katanya. Terus gurunya juga oke, fantastic, yeay, senang banget kayaknya ya. Terus anak yang ketiga dia juga mau jadi, pokoknya semuanya ngasih tahu lah apa yang mereka mau jadi di masa depan. Nah, ada satu anak, dia berdiri, anaknya bilang gini, well, I'm going to be the president of this country. And the moment itu gurunya ketawa. Gurunya juga bilang, nggak mungkin. Terus gurunya juga bilang ke anaknya bahwa, you should change your goal, because you're not gonna be the president of the country, because there's no way you can ever be the president of the country. And the moment anaknya dengar kayak gitu, kalau a common kid, anak yang biasa mah udah pasti dia bakalan nangis, karena yang namanya cita-citanya dia dipangkas, atau cita-citanya dia di reject sama gurunya. Akhirnya dia ngerasa sedih. Tapi bukan anaknya ini. Jadi anaknya ini pas dibilang kayak gitu, justru anaknya ini nengok balik ke gurunya, dia bilang kayak gini, that one day that you and everyone here will know and witness that I'm going to be the president of the country. And gurunya saking gak percayanya, akhirnya dia ketawa. Anaknya sekolahnya di Menteng setiap malam makan nasi goreng katanya. Favorite dish, makan nasi goreng, tinggal di Menteng, sekolah di Menteng, and you guys know who he is, right? Yes. His name was Barack Hussein Obama. And if you guys don't know who he is, I will let you know. Of course you know who he is, eh? If you guys don't know who he is, beliau adalah Presiden Amerika. And then Presiden Amerika ini, kalau kalian mau tahu, dulu dia tinggalnya di Menteng, dan dia suka makanan Indonesia. But that's not the key, the reason I'm here today. I didn't come here to talk about that. And I came here to talk about his probability of his goal was 0. Like his possibility, and it was 0. It's like a 0 chance possibility that he can become a president. If you guys don't understand what I mean. Why? I let you know. Because in the United States of America, there's never been an African American president ever. Di dalam sejarahnya yang namanya Presiden Amerika itu nggak pernah ada. Jadi he was the first African American black president in the United States in the whole history of the US. So what you can actually learn from this, actually see. Sometimes your goal, sometimes your dream in your life seems absurd, seems awkward, seems wow banget, seems impossible. Yes. And that's what I want to talk about today. It's about this thing. A lot of people say, do not set goals. Yeah, today's topic is about do not set goals. And you're probably like confused. I tell you about this story and how super important it is to have a goal and how super important it is for Barack Obama. Tapi the topic today is do not set goals. Why is that? Well, let's get to it, guys. So let's play that intro. Here it is.
Welcome to Deep Cut. For the best experience, please use your earphones. Remember to follow and support Deep Cut. Enjoy the podcast.
All right, here it is. I'm back again. Here it is. Today's topic is about do not set goals. Well, let me finish that sentence. That sentence actually haven't finished yet, and you're probably wondering kenapa kita nggak set goals. Well, do not set goals if you want to be picking up sampah di pinggir jalan. Do not set goals if you decided to jadi pemulung dalam hidupnya kamu. Do not set goals if you decided to jadi tukang parkir dalam hidupnya kamu. Look, I'm not jelek-jelekin mereka, I'm not dissing them, but you all know something. You don't need a degree to do that. You don't need to learn to do that. You don't need to study. You don't need to go to school to do that. You can do that now, in fact. So my point is very simple. Do not set goals if you want to be any of them, but set goals if you want to be someone successful in the future. And so today's topic is going to be short and sweet. And the reason why I'm telling you this topic is because goal is very important for you to achieve, to have dalam hidupnya kamu. And to tell you the truth, everyone wants to be somewhere, everyone wants to be somebody dalam hidupnya mereka, and that has something to do with your goals. In fact, goals is so cool is that you can always imagine about your goal. Like you want to become a president, you can imagine standing in front of that White House, or you can imagine like kalau di sini ada pampres lagi jagain kamu. You can imagine it, right? If you want to become a chef, you can imagine it. Like you one day become Gordon Ramsay, swearing 125 times in a kitchen room. You know, if you want to become who else? If you want to become an artist, you know, you can just imagine you have your own set of studio. If you become a YouTuber, you can imagine all the computer that you get and the screen that you have, and you know, it's just great. I mean, every goal that people always say or people always talk about, you can always imagine. But here's the key. Not necessarily that goal is easier to achieve. When you imagine, you can imagine things happening into your mind, but you don't know the process of going to that goal that's most important. Because I think out of the whole steps of the goal, right, the most important is the steps for you to get there. Isn't that true? It's the steps for you to get there. A lot of people say it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's if you can make it or not make it. But my point is very simple. If you don't make it, but you learn a lot of things in the journey, why not? You get what I mean? Let me repeat that one more time. A lot of people say, if you don't make it, that means that's it, it's over. No. I think if you don't make it in the journey, if you learn a lot of things, I think it's a win-win. And my point is, you know, sometimes we see the end point, but we don't see how to get there. And in fact, the things that happens to us when we get there gets us stronger and stronger every single time. So you guys have to know this, and that's one. I think for sure you guys need to jot this down. And for me, having a goal is, you know, being empowered, you know, for you to get inspired of doing somewhere, getting somewhere. That's most important. Number two, getting a goal is so you have a sense of directions, right? So if you have a goal, you know where you want to be, and you know which area or which location or which way you want to go dalam hidupnya kamu, right? If you have a sense of goal. And the last one, if you have a goal, it actually it makes you confident dalam hidupnya kamu in order for you to achieve many more. Untuk kamu lebih percaya diri. Goal itu membuat orang tiga hal ini. Gets you inspired, right? Fantastic. It gives you a sense of direction. Sama terakhir adalah yang namanya it gives you confident dalam hidupnya kamu. And to tell you the truth, when I tell you all about these goals things, but there's other people out there, when I ask them what's your goal, they even currently right now and say, I don't know yet. Now, is that wrong for you not to have a goal? No, I don't think so. Everyone can, they have the rights to their opinions. Like if you ask, not everyone has a goal. Some people will say, currently I don't know what's my goal. I'm confused. That's good because after this podcast, you will actually learn and gain the steps on how you find that true goal that you want to have in your life, right? I'm not gonna force it in you. Like, no, relax. I'm not gonna force it in you for you to have a goal, but by the end of this podcast, you should be able to know and learn that there's a couple of steps. In fact, there's 6 steps for you to actually find your goal. And then for those of you who have a goal, there's 6 steps for you. You can actually be more confirmed in whatever you're doing towards your goal. I think it's more important. All right. So let's get started. So, this one is about 6 steps of how to achieve your goal and how to actually encounter your goal. Number 1, you guys ready? You got to work out what you want. I think that's the most important thing out of the whole 6 list. Kalian harus nanya ke diri kalian sendiri bahwa sebetulnya gue mau apa sih dalam hidup ini. And only if you guys know what you really want dalam hidupnya kamu, only if you guys know, that's when you can start seeing the visions. That's when you start seeing in the future what's going to be and all these things. It's important. Why? To know what you want is because it focuses on what you want to do, not on what you think you should do. Let me repeat that one more time. Knowing whatever you want it's like focusing on what you want to do, not on what you think you should do. You get what I mean? So when you want to do, like, it's really your passion. It's like bloods and tears. Like, you really want to get that done. So make sure you know what you want. Number 2, what do you enjoy? Now, the second step is when you really don't know what you want to be in the future, ask yourself, what do you enjoy doing? Because this is the only questions where actually it helps me quite a lot with a lot of students. And a lot of students ask me, bilang kayak gini, Ricky, I don't know my current objective right now. I don't know what my goal is dalam hidupnya aku. Pertama yang aku tanya adalah, what do you like to do? And then if he says, I like to play games, you can be a gamer. I like to cook, you can be a chef. I like to aerodynamics, you can be a pilot. You get what I mean, right? So ask yourself, what do you really enjoy? And make sure you write down 5 things you enjoy doing. It can help you to achieve your goal. So make sure, if you don't know what your goal is, sit down, write down 5 things that you enjoy doing. And then from that 5 things, hopefully you get to see what your goal is for the future. All right. Number 3, you got to start small. That's most important. A lot of people, when they have set goals, they want to start big. They want to start earning. It doesn't work that way. There's always a process through it. And it's steps by steps, little baby steps that you can actually, appreciate yourself with. You should be very proud of that. Small goals are easier to achieve. You guys know this, right? So you'll feel good more often. So if you have a huge goal, if you start small, like cut it in half, and what needs to be done this week, what needs to be done next week, what needs to be done at the end of the year. So if you know all of these things, that you got to start small, that's more important. And I know some of you currently right now, deep learner, are listening to me kaya, you want to start small? I thought you start big. No, I mean, you start small because everything starts from a small step. Like every little thing, every goal that you have is like a stairs. And the hardest part of the stairs is always at the beginning for you to start that stairs, right? Number 4, define your goal. Now, once you know your goal, you know what you want to do. Next is like you need to define it. And how do you define it? Simple. You need to make sure it's very specific, like your goals that you have, and make sure you go by this thing called SMART. Okay, guys. So number 1 is you make sure it's specific. Make sure you know that whatever you want in your life, it's specific enough. I mean, don't come up to me and say, I want to be rich. Don't come up to me and say, I want to be, because if you tell me, I want to be rich, then I'm gonna ask you how much more rich you want to be. Is that clear, right? Like it makes sense, right, for all of you guys? So it has to be, you need to define it. You need to actually break it down into pieces, what you want to do and what you're starting to do, how's the website going, and how your other relationship is going. So you got to know something. It's define your goal first. That's the 4 steps. Number 5, you ready? You got to break it up into pieces. Why? Break it up into mini goals. If you break it up into mini goals, you'll be able to get more satisfaction. And the more satisfaction you get, the more you come back to whatever you need to achieve. And that's so clear. Set mini goals to help you stay motivated. For example, instead of deciding to save money, break the goal down to save 20 a week. So at least you get more. I mean, it's just example for me. So at least you get more money that way. But at the same time, you got to know something that you got to break it up into pieces. Why? A huge goal, it looks very huge. Like, I give you an example. Like if you see a big rock, right? If you want to move it, you won't be able to move it, right? Because it's super heavy. But if you break it up into pieces, for sure it's going to be really easy for you to understand. At the same time, it's going to be very easy for everyone. The last one, ready? Number 6. Set a time frame. Yes, you need a time frame. Artinya adalah you need a due date. You cannot just say that I want to be this, I want to do that dalam hidupnya aku. Tapi kalian harus ada yang namanya batas waktu. By 5 years, by 6 years, by berapa tahun sih kayak kalian mau do whatever you do. So harus ada waktunya. In that way, the chef or in that way, kalau kalian tahu batas waktunya gimana, tak ada time frame-nya. Misalnya kalau kalian mau jadi chef, barusan yang aku bilang, ya kalian tahu lah kalau kalian udah 5 tahun terus akhirnya kalian masih sous chef atau masih dealing with dessert, that means you have about like, I don't know, like you say I want to become a full chef dalam 5 tahun. Kalau dalam 3 tahun kalian masih ngurusin dessert sama other things dalam kitchennya itu, that means you still have 2 more years for you to achieve that goal, right? Yes, and you need to make sure you need to have a time frame. Make sure you need to have a due date. Why? If not, it won't be touched at all dalam hidupnya kamu. Kalau nggak ada time frame-nya, kalian nggak akan sentuh yang namanya goalnya itu. Kalian nggak akan balik lagi. And that's one of those things that I like to let you know. Now, lastly, before we finish, I mentioned it's going to be short and sweet, right? So dalam goals-nya itu ada 2 tipe. Yang pertama adalah long term, yang kedua adalah yang namanya short term. You have to know this. There's short term goals, and there's long term goals. What is the difference between short term and long term? Here it is. Let's go with short term first. Short term goals are very short. You're like, we know that already. Okay. Short-term goals are something you want to accomplish soon. Like you wake up in the morning, you want to accomplish it by the end of the day. You want to accomplish it by 2 days. Something that is soon. And a short-term goal is stepping stones to reach larger goals. Like, remember I said like small steps that you need to do? Yeah, those are short-term goals. Do short-term goals first and then do the hardest one at the end. And in fact, it won't be hard. Why? Because you've cleared out step by step towards that. And last one, provide a step-by-step plan. True. I think Churchill pernah bilang, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So make sure you plan before you want to go into a long-term goal. So long-term goal itu seperti apa? Long-term goal are intrinsically strategic. Artinya adalah itu full complete. Kalian udah tahu langkahnya kemana, ngambilnya di mana, terus harus ngapain dalam hari ini. It's very strategic. Number 2, long-term goal are require more time and effort. Udah pasti. Nggak mungkin kayak long-term goal itu jatuhnya like by the end of the year aku mau ini. No. Long-term goal itu maybe can be at the end of the year, but it can also be like 5 years ahead and 10 years ahead. Long-term goal, more flexible. And long-term goal are very flexible. You need to be adaptable. That means if you think that it's a bit harsh or it's a bit hard to achieve it, you can always change your goal at the same time. But it's very flexible. Those are long-term goals. And short-term goals are very short, and it's a stepping stone for you to get into the larger goals. I hope you understand what I mean, all right? So in that, it's very short and sweet about goals, and I hope you enjoyed it. And why is it very important? I've already mentioned to you that goals is very important unless you want to become other things in life, seperti kayak tukang sampah, tukang pemulung. You don't need to set goals. You don't even need to go to school. I mean, you can always do it now. I'm not talking bad about them. I mean, I respect them at the same time, but you get what I mean, right? So in that, before we finish today, I have a small, insight for you guys before you go back and before we finish today's podcast. My insight is very simple. Are you guys ready? Here it is. Goal is so important that sometimes a life without goal is a life without meaning. And when a life without meaning is, that it's going to be, it's going to be, that it's going to be very hard for you in the future. And it's going to be very hard for you to achieve whatever you want in the future. But let me clear this out first, okay? Goal is like climbing a mountain. And when you see the mountain from afar, you see the beautiful snow at the tip of that mountain, or you see the beautiful clouds behind that mountain. I mean, in a bigger picture, it seems very beautiful. But sometimes the process of getting there is the hardest you can ever think of. is the most toughest out of you can ever think of. You're gonna go through this thing, cries. You're gonna go through these things, yang namanya disappointment. You're gonna go through these things, rejection. You're gonna go through a lot of things called backstabbing. But my key is very simple. Like, it's not always bad things that's gonna happen to you in the process of your goal. I mean, a lot of people think it's always bad things that happens to you towards your goal. Not really. There's also happiness. There's also laughter. There's many things you can go through. It's called the journey of life. But most thing important that you guys should know is, at the end of the day, when halfway and it seems to be tough and things seems to be hard, things to be seems to be impossible, what should you do? Should you give up or should you never give up? What should you do? My only answer is the same answer as the moment I started this podcast. What is that? If the probability is not zero, then you gotta keep on doing it. If the possibility is not zero, then you gotta keep on doing it. That's so true, right? I mean, until the probability is zero and it's not as unachievable, then you can change. But if you still have 1%, you better get up your butt and keep on doing it and work hard and hustle and do whatever you can to achieve whatever dreams you have in your life. In that, guys, I want to say thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. You guys take care for listening, Deep Learner, for this session. It's going to be very short and sweet, right? I told you. So I want to say thank you so much for those of you who's been listening. It really means a lot to me. I will see you on Monday, I think it's right now. I will see you on Monday, which will be my next podcast. By the way, the season has been running very well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I have another season 3. It's going to be really fun also. And I'm going to talk about, it's going to be a secret, right? I have a season 3 topic coming up very soon. So, kalian tebak-tebak aja lah. Kalau yang pertama Deep Cut, kedua Deep Learn, ketiga adalah Deep, pokoknya seru banget. I can't wait to tell you, but season 3 is going to be awesome. We're still in season 2. So guys, thank you so much. Remember to click the notification bell. I will see you very, very soon. Enjoy your weekend. Take care, guys. Peace out. Love.
Thank you for listening to Deep Cut. We hope you enjoy your listening experience. Deep Cut are available in Spotify and Anchor service. As a reminder, please do not use this podcast as a reference or as a solution to your problem. The topics and suggestions in this podcast are not for personal development use. Any action taken from this podcast, Deep Cut is not responsible for any life-changing results. See you in the next podcast episode.